kind of a marriage.
It is a marriage.
Yeah.
You know, B of A were the first to adopt the Equator platform, so
Yep.
it is kind of a marriage. But as great as we both believe Equator has been, simplified everything a great deal in dealing with B of A short sales, there was a big problem. There was a huge shortfall.
That's
if
putting
you
it
like.
nicely, yeah.
And that was, you do all this work, you get everything going along, you get to the point where you get a short sale approval, and you're so excited, your short sale's been approved, it's all there, you let the buyer's agent know, it's like, oh, well, you know, that buyer bought another house. They're no longer interested, or you know what, or maybe it's not that, maybe they weren't writing multiple offers. Maybe they actually, you know, I did have one where between writing the offer and getting the short sale approval, the buyer actually lost his job.
Yeah, life happens.
So things happen. What used to happen in Equator is that entire transaction would get canceled out, and you basically go all the way back to the beginning. You've got to reinitiate the sale and go through. But you don't have to do that anymore, do you?
I know, it's very exciting because as of this month, B of A has said that if you have an approval from Bank of America in Equator and your buyer can't perform or for some reason walks away, you can bring in a substitute backup offer as long as it is exactly the same or better than what's already been in there.
Yeah, but the nice thing about it there is even if there are terms, in fact they issued a clarification on this, even if there were terms that are a little bit different, the nice thing is they're almost treating the short sale platform in Equator like they were in their REO platform.
Right.
So on the short sale platform, the big difference was once you had an acceptance, once you had an approval in there, the way you submitted offers on any property is you click that little new offer button. Well, that was grayed out. It wasn't available. You couldn't use it. Now you can. It's kind of like they've flipped the switch and they've turned it on. So the great thing is if you've got another buyer and you've got, you know, a very comparable offer, something you can work with, you can then click that new offer and submit that new offer without having to go all the way back and resubmit all of the seller's financials, all of the hardship letter again, and all of the information. But you did bring up a great point. If the terms of the offer are not an exact match to what was approved, that doesn't mean that they're just automatically going to spit out a new approval letter.
Right.
It means that is still going to have to go through the approval process, and they're going to have to look at it and get investor approval. But what it does mean is all of those steps of uploading all those documents and going back and actually saying, hey, this seller does qualify for a short sale, all of that's done. So that's a huge time saver.
And I don't know for a fact, and maybe you can answer this, I don't know if there's actually a window of time there, but I would have to believe that if you can get another offer within, say, 30 days, you're probably pretty good. After 30 days, I haven't seen where it's gone back to, or I haven't heard anyone say it's going to go back to reinitiation, but you know, all these short sales are really contingent upon the seller's situation and the bank agreeing to the seller's situation.
Right.
So I know you and I both, we have our sellers give us updated financials once a month.
Right.
Mine's the first Friday of every month. I think yours
Exactly.
is the same. So if it's the 5th of the month and the buyer can't perform or something goes wrong, I would have to think that if you can get another buyer in there by the end of the month with the same terms or similar terms and conditions and the same type of offer, you're probably going to be good to go. This is, in my opinion, this is B of A's way of saying, look, we've done our due diligence. We've gone back to the investor. The investor has said yes to this. As long as we're in this same red apple for red apple, then we're going to be good to go. We're going to stop wasting time with this.
Exactly, and that's the main thing. I mean, does it mean if there's some differences there, some updated financials may still be asked for? No, they're still going to want the updated information as needed, but what it does mean is that you are going to be able to bring in those backup offers and let the bank know that you've got it rather than treating this like a whole new transaction. Because the thing before is they'd actually cancel the file out of Equator. So now, you know, the relationship that you've built up with your negotiator, that's all gone because the file's going to get reassigned. The notes don't transfer over.
Right.
It was just kind of a mess. And now at least that file sits there. It's still open. It's still active. It's just a matter of bringing in the other offer. Simplifies things a great deal. And I think you're going to find more and more banks doing the same thing. GMAC are already very good about doing that. If they've already issued an approval and you lose that buyer, they are extremely quick on their turn times in bringing a new offer in. And that is going to be the trend as the short sales continue to be the preferred method of disposition for these distressed properties.
For sure, and remember that, you know, most of these big institutions, Bank of America, we know services over 93, 94% of the loans. It's not their own money. You know, all the big banks are like that. You know, I don't know of any bank out there right now, unless it's a little bank like a with loaning their own money. So the way that the banks are looking at it, in my opinion, is that they've already done their due diligence. They've got the investor that actually holds the note, that has a final decision to give them an answer. Let's get this thing done for them.
Exactly.
So this is a major breakthrough for short sales. Those that, not to go off topic, but I know a lot of agents 3 years ago when I first started doing short sales, as my main focus, agents were like, oh, short sales are just going to, you know, they're a trend, here and gone, here and gone, here and gone, and a lot of those agents are no longer in business. But it's not here and gone.
No,
this is going to be here for a long time, and there's a reason why the federal government stepped in. There's a reason why the banks are working with homeowners. This is really great news about this B of A decision. I truly believe that it's going to follow suit with all the other big banks.
Exactly, it is going to, and it's going to continue to streamline the process. And again, remember, the banks wouldn't be putting in the time, the effort, and the money to keep refining their systems and improve them and make them better on something that's going to disappear next month. Yeah, this is going to be with us for a while.
There's no doubt. You and I have talked 100 times about the big foreclosure push, the big REO push again. And our numbers here in Southern California, we're seeing more and more and more standard sales, and that's a whole other topic to talk about. But the point of the matter is, the banks would rather do a short sale than foreclose on someone. Now that doesn't mean that you can just sit around and not do anything and say they're never going to foreclose, because they will.
They are.
Okay? But if you're participating, you're trying to do the right thing. Remember, you owe a debt, okay? You borrow the money. But this thing with B of A and Equator and not having to reinitiate, which would take sometimes up to a week. I know that we've gotten them as quick as 24 hours, and sometimes a few hours if you have a relationship with that LM. But I've seen some take a week to get reinitiated because they didn't press the right button, and it was a nightmare.
Yeah, and it just triggers a series of tasks, and anyway, all of that's gone. So it's great news from B of A's perspective. And again, as always, find us at s2neg.com. .com. Got a frog in my throat there.
Wow.
s2neg.com.
You're very excited about this B of A.
I am. I'm really excited about B of A. In fact, I've got to go and upload an offer for B of A right now.
So we got to get off this video thing.
All right, so we'll see you next time.
Thanks for stopping by.